Tears crying, rivers in pain. Garbage blocking every drain. When heavy rain comes pouring down, flood water spreads all around town. Oh, LIBERIA, hear the call. Protect the land that feeds us all. Together strong, hand in hand, we can heal our motherland. Green LIBERIA, rise today. Let's keep pollution far away. Plant a tree, keep water clean. Fight for a future fresh and green. VGL is raising the voice. Protecting nature is our choice. Stand up now, come join the fight for LIBERIA, shining bright. Drainage is not a garbage bin.
When your community floods, who do you blame? And what responsibility do you personally have for preventing it? Is yet another time, another opportunity afforded us to talk about issues of Mother Nature. This is the Environmental Hour right here on Love FM 105.1. I'm here Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, 5 to 6 o'clock, to talk about issues surrounding our environment and our livelihood. My name is Rufus Divine Cannon. In today's edition of the program, I'm going to bring you some facts and also give you detailed information about what is happening within the environmental cycle. Specifically, we're going to be looking at, on the flip side, flooding in Liberia. Is it a natural disaster or a human-made crisis? What we can do when we have flooding? What are our roles and responsibilities as citizens of the land? What is the government own role as well? All these things will be talked about. So for those of you who are following us via the internet, Love TV Live, or better still, Voices for a Green Liberia VGL Media Facebook page, call a friend to tell a friend, share the show, make your input, because it concerns you and I. It's non-political. It's strictly in the line of Mother Nature. My name is Rufus Divine Cannon. A verse of our theme song. When we come back, I'll bring you some facts about Mother Nature.
Our responsibility. LIBERIA, stand up.
Pollution is not just an environmental issue. It is a health issue, a community issue, a national issue. The future of Liberia depends on what we do today. Clean Liberia, Green Liberia. Join the movement with Voices for a Green Liberia, VGL Media, in collaboration with Love FM, educating, advocating, acting for a green Liberia.
Our land, our future, our responsibility. LIBERIA, stand up.
Water is life, but what happens when life becomes polluted? Dumping garbage, chemicals, and sewage into rivers and beaches is poisoning our waters. Contaminated water spreads diseases and kill aquatic life.
Protect our rivers, protect our beaches. Never dump waste into water. Save water, save life. A message from Voices for a Green Liberia, VGL Media, in collaboration with Love FM 105.1.
So please make sure to do the needful, because Mother Nature is counting on us. If we slip, definitely Mother Nature has its own way of reacting. So that's why we here at Voices for a Green Liberia, in collaboration with Love FM, affords you the opportunity every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to talk about those things, to enlighten our minds and give us a sense of direction, because a lot of us do things we don't know the trickle down effect of our actions. And when Mother Nature won't remind you, she goes about doing what is needed to be done to safeguard herself. So, in order to that, we always say to you, the issue of climate change is not a distant threat. It is with us, and we need to do all we can to minimize the threat that comes with Mother Nature, which is climate change. All right. So, did you know that every year, August 10th is celebrated as World Lion Day? Did you know? Now, if you did not, get to know. Every year, August 10th is a day to raise awareness about the plight of lions and gather support for their conservation. Lions are threatened by loss of habitat as well as by hunting and poaching. So please, on this day, people raise awareness for lions. Yes. So please, if you are following us and you have lion in your country, please make sure to create an enabling environment, a livelihood, so that lion can have its survivability. All right, let's go to some news within the environmental cycle. It is interesting to know that you listen to us. We play you an excerpt from the Monrovia City Corporation, where 40 dustbins were distributed, and it's now in full swing. It's only intended for littering. It is now for your household waste. So please note and you make use of it. Those of you who are traveling, those of you moving from one end of the city to the other, please take into consideration when you buy your donut, you buy your candy, your chocolate, whatever, and you buy your water, your sachet of water or your bottle of water, and you finish drinking, please look for one of these dustbins and place it in the dustbin. Please. And we learned that volunteers from Ministry of Youth and Sports are assigned to caution people. Yes, to caution people while you are using, the streets. You can actually place your diet right within that stuff. Okay, time for you to drop it in the street. With that being said, let's also, why we are bringing you information, there's an interesting information within the cycle of forestry in collaboration with the Ministry of Youth and Sports. So this information, thanks to Minister Cornelia Krua, who provided us this information through her Facebook handle. And she writes, I am really excited about this partnership with the Forestry Development Authority to establish a shared wood processing facility at the MVTC, aimed at expanding vocational skills, employment opportunities, and value addition in Liberia's secondary wood processing industry. She went on to say, the shared facility will primarily benefit students enrolled at the Monrovia Vocational Training Center and members of the 11th Carpenters and Furniture Makers Association operating in Montserrat County. So that's a very good news. And we say thanks to the Forestry Development Authority. We look forward to having somebody from the, to actually give us detail concerning what is this partnership all about. Though the minister actually gave us some summary of it, but we will get more from the Forestry Development Authority in the coming days in one of our editions. So it's a great news for those of you students who find yourself at the Monrovia Vocational Training Center. Is a very good thing for you and those carpenters. Wow, what a great news. Now, today our topic we are specifically looking at is flooding in Liberia. You know, it is the rainy season, and there are a lot of things happening in terms of flooding situation. Yes, the Dole community is one of those areas right now as I speak to you since yesterday or day before yesterday, due to the heavy pool of rain, they are experiencing serious flooding situation in that area. The Clarendon area is no exception to that as well. Other areas that we cannot just name now, but you are victim of the flooding situation. This is a good information that you can listen and act upon it to mitigate or to prevent the danger or the damage that flooding will actually have on you, or the impact flooding has on you as community dwellers. Because, mind you, there are a lot of things that we do and we feel that, come on, man, nothing will happen. But in today's edition, is about us teaching you, giving you detailed information regarding the causes of flooding. Somebody asks, is it a natural thing or is a human-made crisis? Quote unquote. It's natural, but in so doing, let's understand we as human, we contribute to flooding in our communities. How do we contribute? There are a lot of ways we contribute. You block the waterways. You put that in the drainage system. All these things are contributing factors to flooding. All right. So let's get to business. Flooding is often described as a natural disaster caused by heavy rainfall, overflowing rivers, or rising water levels. However, when we look closely at the situation in Liberia, we discover that flooding is not simply a natural event. Human activities can make floods more frequent, more severe, and more destructive. Oh, yes. Are we saying this? Can you attest to that? Oh, yes. We know. You can see in your community. You need no rocket scientist to tell that you are one of the contributing factors for the continuous flooding situation that you experience. You are building in waterways. Some of you, the homes that you are even building in the waterways, they are not even built properly. They do not even have foundation to maintain or to contain the flow of water. So at the end of the day, you become victim of the circumstances. When the water increases, it enters your homes. Some of you, you put that in the drainage system. What for? Or because sometimes political reasons and so forth. But we want to let you know today that this leads us to a very important question to ask you. Very important question I have to ask you. Is flooding in Liberia a natural disaster or is it a human-made crisis? This is a question that you and I should answer. But let us get you up to speed while we will get your own input on that. The answer to this question is both. Yes. We ask the question, is flooding in Liberia a natural disaster or is it a human-made crisis? It is both. We know that heavy rainfalls and other natural conditions may trigger flooding. But let us understand as well, humans, our activities, and poor planning can turn a natural hazard into a serious crisis. Let's take, for instance, our folks are building roads. How are they building these roads? Are they building the roads properly with a proper drainage system? If yes, now that the roads are being built or rehabilitated with a proper drainage system, you as community dwellers, what are you doing to maintain those drainage system? Now we understand that you are now putting your waste from your homes in the drainage system to clog it. You are taking all sort of things and placing it. Some of you are even building on the waterways. How you expect the water to flow? So at the end of the day, we will experience flooding. So now when we say it is both, let us get detail about our answers. So now understand that flooding as a natural disaster. First, flooding is a natural phenomenon. Let's understand that. Let's make that record straight. Flooding is a natural phenomenon. Liberia has a tropical climate with periods of heavy rainfall, particularly during the rainy season. Rivers, streams, wetlands, and low-lying areas naturally collect and transport large amounts of water. Are we saying the truth? Yes, indeed. We understand that. A lot of our lands are wet. You have swammy land. People with that opportunity to have the land closer by the swamp, they take advantage of that wetland, start to fill in, putting dirt and other things there to expand the land, the volume of the land. You know what you are doing there? You are creating a serious problem. Sometimes they go to the extreme of destroying the mangrove, not knowing the last time we went in depth of the importance of the mangrove. So understand that our own action causes flooding as well. So when rainfalls becomes extremely heavy, rivers and drainages may not be able to contain all the water. Oh yes. As a result, water can overflow into homes, roads, farms, and communities. We see. Look along the Japanese freeway. When you get around the 72nd area there, as soon as you pass, you turn going towards the Gardnersville side, you will see when it rains, that whole area gets flooded because the drainage system wasn't really properly laid out. Aside from that, you understand that people are placing garbage right within the drainage system. When you drive past this on the second junction, going towards the Jakarta area, as soon as you pass the Nizo, that entire stretch right opposite the Jim Dairy Black Factory there, that place gets flooded. You know why? Because the water doesn't have a safe passage. All those areas where they are now blocked, people build in the waterways. Before it wasn't that way. Then you also have human being putting dirt in the system there. What do you expect? You expect that area to be flooded. So, and that leads to the destruction of the road. And you understand? It leads to the destruction of the road. Mind you, the quota and water they can't pull. When it rains, what happens? The rain comes along with the sand. So wherever the sand is, wherever the water goes, the sand follows. Then you have vehicles, the heavy vehicles marching and rolling through the waters and all those stuff, the sand is deepening and creating hole within the quota right there. Instead of us having a quota that will last all long, we have those pop holes in the quota. Pop holes in the quota. At the end of the day, the money that was spent to get that road up for the usage of the citizens, you have to look for another money to get it patched, all because of our actions. All right? All because of our actions. Now, we dealt with the natural disaster. Flooding is a natural disaster. But let us come to our human activity that increases flooding. Our human activity that increases flooding. It makes it so worse to the extent one major factor is poor drainage. Like I was just saying, poor drainage. In areas where drainage channels are inadequate, blocked, or poorly managed, rainwater cannot flow away quickly. Water therefore accumulates on roads and around houses. I got a video, but I tried uploading this video from the Sindo community area there. It will interest you to know the people homes, they do not have that high foundation. It is very low. Then their practices, it's so unbecoming. So at the end of the day, when it rains, the water cannot flow properly. Why it does that? It creates a serious, volume that enters homes, covers the road, and so forth. So you are now feeling the brunt of your action. We empathize with you, but at the same time, we are here to caution you and tell you calling a spade a spade. Your own action. Some of you go in the Dole community area. I'm laying more emphasis on Dole community because right now they are feeling the brunt of their action. The flood is a serious concern right now in the Dole community area, the Clarendon and Dole community areas. There are other areas, but these are major areas. All right. Another problem here is improper disposal of waste. I mentioned it. The improper disposal of waste. When plastic bags, bottles, household waste, and other materials are thrown into drainage systems, they can block the flow of water. During heavy rainfall, blocked drains can cause water back up and flood surrounding areas. Oh yes. Stop throwing right now. Take upon your time. For those of you in the Matadi area there, the Fiaman area there, before you cross the bridge, just look on your left. That area is clogged. You cannot see the water movement as it should because people are building in the swamp. They are filling in the swamp. Secondly, you see the bottles, you see the plastic, you see all those things. They just pile up right within our drainage system. How can the water flow properly? And they're living right around there. They have created an island there. People, they have made that place a dwelling place. So let us come to think about it. If our actions, we know that flood is a natural disaster, but we ourselves contribute to the increase of flooding. Like I told you, we're blocking the drainage. We're building in the waterways. Another issue that has to do with this flooding issue here is deforestation. Deforestation can also contribute to flooding. Trees and vegetation helps to absorb rainfall and reduce the speed at which water runs across the land. When forests are cleared without proper environmental management, more water can flow rapidly into rivers and low-lying areas. You see it? We're cutting down trees and not planting them, replanting. The last time I talked about the planting of coconut trees along our beaches, so that it prevents, to a certain extent, the erosion from taking away the land space of our beaches. They want more about the land where you have rivers closer and our drainage system is not properly managed. We can also talk about this. You know, our city is densely populated. The foundation of this country, from the setting up of our city, the number of people now that dwell within the urban area is even more than the number the city was constructed for. So urban development is another important factor we should look at. Urban development is another important factor. When buildings, roads, and other structures are constructed without adequate consideration of drainage and natural waterways, they can prevent water from moving naturally. You understand it? We know that we need development. Oh, we need to build. But here is it. This brings into play the involvement of the Public Works Ministry. You have the EPA playing her role, and the city government. They also have the role to play in this. Sometimes we'll see people building in waterways, and the Ministry of Public Works will come and mark on that building or that structure, stop work. All of a sudden, we'll see that work will continue and be completed. And at the final analysis, it becomes a serious problem. Take, for instance, the structure that is before reaching the ERW junction, right around the SP gas station, that whole corridor there. When it rains, it gets flooded because the structure that was laid out there or constructed at that place, those very gigantic structures, they are blocking the water safe passage to the extent when it rains, that entire place gets flooded, and the community dwellers who haven't experienced in a long while the issue of flood because the water had a safe passage, they now started experiencing serious flood in that area because the structure of that building is huge, and secondly, it is built within the waterways. So urban development is another important factor when we are looking at the issue of flooding. So when people building, it comes to even the road. Right now, we have the Chinese. They are constructing the overpass there. You notice that there are certain areas along that Congo Town route where the construction is taking place. It gets flooded, especially around the Kalando area there. It gets flooded to the extent they have burst in and created a way for the water to access the drainage heading towards the Peace Island area. The drainage now heads towards the Peace Island area that enters the swamp is where they have done the connection. So at the end result, what is happening? Low vehicles flying that route because of the drainage they have created there. It is not properly structured because it is not cemented. So those vehicles, the honor carriers and all the things drag on our path. But come to think about it, in some communities, people may also build houses in flood-prone areas because they have limited access to safer land. It increases their exposure to flooding. You see the place, how wet it is. You say, oh, the place, I can fill the place up. Hey, Ali, we can put our little one or two there. There's a place along the Bushra Island there. They call the Bali Island, right? Around there. Even along, it also connects with Clarendon and that of the Dole community. That area there is water prone. But people still building structures. And some of the structures they are building there, they are not even durable structures. To say you have a strong foundation, a very high foundation, when it rains, that the water won't enter. They just take the round posts, juke it in the ground, and then put less cement, cover the structure, and they are living there. So at the end result, when we have more water, the more water and the river gets high, the level gets high, they become victim of flooding. And at the end of the day, they start to call government, oh, government can't our aid. You saw the place, knowing very well that that place is flood prone. But yet still, you build there, forgetting to know it increases your exposure to flooding. Now, let's think about it. Climate change and increasing risk. We are now facing climate change. Climate change is another factor that should not be ignored. Climate change is another factor that should not be ignored. Let's understand that we have rainy season and dry season. But come to think about it, sometimes you expect the rain to fall at this point in time, but it has changed drastically because the climate has changed. So changing climate can affect rainfall pattern and increases the likelihood of extreme weather events in many parts of the world. For a country such as Liberia, where many communities already face challenges related to infrastructure and environmental management, extreme rainfall can create serious consequences. Serious consequences can be the experience. So let's understand, those things are key factors that we've listed. There are key factors that contribute to flooding. And let's understand, this does not mean that heavy flood is directly caused by climate change. Rather, climate change can increase the risks and challenges associated with extreme rainfall and flooding, notwithstanding our own action as well. So therefore, Liberia needs to consider both immediate flood management and long-term climate adaptation. Yes, we need this. We need to consider both immediate flood management and long-term climate adaptation. Some of you, you know very well, you're living in a wet area, like the Dole community. When it is dry season, instead of you preparing yourselves for the rainy season by digging a drainage, making sure that you have a deeper drainage system, so when it rains, the water will have safe passage, it will not overflow. You sit there and allow you so too complacent. You won't know. So when it rains now, the water overflow and enter your home, then it becomes a problem, then it becomes government problem. No, you have your role to play. You should have used your third eye. So, it coming real, that rainy season coming in here. Let's make sure that community dwellers, community leaders, let us make sure we join hands and clean our drainage. Let us stop throwing dirt anywhere. Right there, when you apply these kinds of tactics, it minimizes the risks of flooding in your community. Now, let us look at this. the human cause of flooding. Flooding is more than water covering roads and land. It can have serious effects on people's lives. Oh, yes. Flood can destroy homes, damage roads and bridges. It disrupts transportation. Come to think about it. The Freeport area there, that entire stretch going as far as Vatam, when it rains heavily, that area gets flooded. Or even APRC there, that area gets flooded to the extent for even low vehicles to plow that route. They cannot make it. So let's understand that floods can destroy homes, it damages roads and bridges, it disrupts transportation, and destroy crops. For those of you who are farmers, you got a little garden and thing, you finish planting your little crops and thing. Only the farmer, the rain now, there 2 days it's been raining. Like today, it was very wet. In some areas, it's still raining. Since last night, it started raining. Up to present, it's still raining out there in some areas. So people crops damage. It interrupts people's schooling. Blessingly, school is not yet open, but we have other schools open. So because of the flood situation, some kids don't go to school. Today, some kids did not go to school, all because of the flood. The area got overwhelmed. And it also has economic activities on store. People cannot go out to do their normal activities, to get a little ends meet. Businesses are closed. That Jalo Shaba in the community there, the water enter it. So Jalo trying to face a little small dry hitting. So he's not selling, the shop closed. So when water enters those homes, the entire community feel the brunt of the action, because at the end of the day, economic activities will be on hold. When it comes to health, your sanitation problems, all these things are created. Now, you have well in our community. So when the flood takes place, it enters the well. That well, you can go drink the water you're drinking from the well. That well gets contaminated. It increases risks of waterborne diseases. You see the children all in our water crossing to go to the other end. And the worst thing about it, the Claratown, the Doe community, even along some parts of the how you call it, Batre and Tombo village area there. That entire end around there, gotta understand, they build latrines along the waterways. They build latrines along the water, the bank of the river. So as it rains and the flood increases, the same feces they can pour in our water, it come in their homes. And you see the children from the community swimming. Some of them can swim or in the play or in the water. Have you come to realize that it has a serious health risks? Waterborne diseases, particularly where access to clean water and sanitation is already limited. Flooding can therefore create economic, social, health, and environmental problems. Oh, yes. So the most affected are often those who have the fewest resources to recover. Poor and vulnerable households may lose their homes, belongings, livelihoods, or sources of income, and have difficulty rebuilding after disaster. That's why we encourage the disaster management team to create awareness. The people can see disaster, yet they take it lightly. So when the awareness is ongoing, look, just stop building in waterways. Just stop doing this. Just stop doing that. At the end of the day, when these same people still continue, then you have your ground. Say, we enlighten you people minds on the danger of you living in these areas, but you pay laissez-faire attitudes and you fear that we're saying the wrong thing. Now that you are caught up in the web, what can we do? Then you have a point. If you're not effectively meeting up with the demands or responses, you won't be held liable because you made a plain to them. You carry on awareness. Here is something that I want to bring to your attention. Why we should call it a human-made crisis. Calling flooding entirely a natural disaster can sometimes hide the role humans played in creating vulnerability. And it's a natural thing. But we ourselves, we create the enabling environment for the disaster to take place. We cannot stop the rain. Yes, of course, it's Mother Nature. We cannot control rivers completely. We don't have the ability to do that, but we can influence how prepared our communities are. We can influence how prepared our communities are in terms of the rainy season. Make sure we clean the drainage system. Make sure we clean our environment. If our drainage system are poorly designed and maintained, flooding can be reduced. If our drainage systems are properly designed, rather, it can reduce the issue of flooding. If waste is properly collected and disposed of our community, drainage channels are less likely to come to the point of blockage. If wetlands, forests, and natural waterways are protected, they can continue to help manage excess water. Oh yes. If households and roads are properly planned, communities can be less exposed to flood risk. And if citizens and government institutions work together on disaster preparedness, the impact of flooding can be reduced. I was just saying it to you. Disaster management, there where you come in, alongside EPA, educating the people, especially those in water-prone areas. So this means that while the hazard may be natural, the scars of the disaster can be influenced by human decisions. Oh yes. We care, after all, that the government will take the quarter. That the government, but some of you go so quarter to the extent you become so petty with your entrenched mind into politics. You say to our own government town, and they were throwing down the place, and they say, so we'll put it there, let people know that they said to they're not cleaning the place, the country dirty. But who's dirty in the country? We ourselves. So yes, what we can do to reduce the impact of flooding, Liberia needs action at every level. We need swift action at every level. Let's begin with the government own role and responsibility. The government is to improve and maintain drainage systems, strengthen urban and land use planning, protect wetlands, forests, and natural waterways. The government needs to improve waste management systems, strengthen early warnings and emergency response systems, educate communities about flood preparedness, avoid or regulate construction in highly flood-prone areas. That's why we at Voices for a Green Liberia, VGL Media, we are fully registered with the government. We are fully registered with the government of Liberia to carry on awarenesses and advocate on environmental issues. So if you think that you do not have the manpower to do awarenesses, contact us. We have the airwaves. We have the means to reach out to communities, to reach out to districts, towns, villages, to provide the necessary information regarding flood preparedness. So that will relieve our people and put them in readiness as we go deeper into this climate change. Now, you as a community dweller, there is your own role to play in this reduction of flood risks. Keep drainage channels free from waste. The people in Jacotown, 72nd, you just all around the place, they just putting that all in the drainage. It looks so odd. We say we are civilized, but it shows no civilization. Gardnersville, Supermarket, New Georgia, all these areas, all along the main streets, you see garbage all over the place. So we need to keep our drainage channels free from waste. Participate in community cleanup exercises. We need to avoid dumping garbage into waterways and drains. Let us follow flood warnings and evacuation instructions. So when you see the flood taking place gradually, how to leave that environment. There comes in Voices for a Green Liberia. Say, look, you need to do this. You need to do that. We need to do this. You need to do that. This is how you do it. With those instructions given, the people will be prepared in times of flooding. We need to protect vulnerable people, including children and older residents during emergencies. Oh, yes. We need to do all these things. Now, let's come to think about it. Individually, say, oh, if I let well people, I let do my own thing. Now, you as an individual, stop disposing waste irresponsibly. Stop disposing your waste irresponsibly. And now you need to dispose your waste responsibly. Avoid building or settling in high-risk areas where possible. So, you know, the dry landsman, so I think we'll fill in this one here, then we'll put structures. Some of the structures that you even go to build in our place, you don't even wait for the soil to settle. That's why you see there's a building along the Fiama area there. Not even one. Several of them. They place these structures at that place, and now the structures they are sinking. Some of those structures, they have reached the window level already. They have to move. So all the money you spend, you're going in breeze because the place is no longer safe for you. There's a structure that along that same corridor there, upstairs building. That building is sinking gradually. It's another risk. There are other areas we can talk about. Even along the 13th Street, is it 13? Yeah, 12th Street. When you pass the JJ Rubber, going towards 13th Street area, there's a gigantic structure that was placed there. Upstairs building. That building is sinking. That building is sinking. Another one is on the opposite side. Those buildings are sinking because that's wetland. So we need to pay attention to weather and flood warnings. Prepare emergency supplies. Where is the disaster management in all this? Thanks to the Red Cross is always responding. Yes, when it comes to disaster management, The Red Cross is also always responding with the little meager resources that they have to flood victims, fire victims, and all those things. That's why we here at Voices for a Green Liberia say we need to be called upon so that we get engaged with educating our people, like what we're doing is on a voluntary basis. Thanks to Love Heaven for affording us the opportunity to get our people to understand some of these things. So we are providing education to family members, to neighbors about the issue of flood safety. So wherever you are, folks, this is the program, the Environmental Hour here. We are looking at flood, in particular, the flooding situation. Liberia, flooding in Liberia, natural disaster or human-made crisis. So we've been listing out some of the things that serve as a contributing factor to the issue of flood in Liberia. So at this point, we will open the lines so that you call and make your input. 0778-665-073, 0887-105-105 are numbers to call and form part of the program this evening. 0887-105-105, 0778-665-073 are numbers to call to participate. Let's talk about your area. Let's talk about the flood situation. Let's talk about the pollution that you're causing in the community. You're taking the dye, placing it in a drainage. How wouldn't we experience flood? You will definitely experience it because the water will always find its way. If you block it from using this angle, it will use the other angle. That's why you see the flooding situation all across the country now, because people are building in waterways. People are building in waterways. So heavy rainfall, river, geographic, and other natural conditions can create the possibility for flooding. But let us understand, human activities such as poor drainage, improper waste disposal, deforestation, unplanned development, and inadequate disaster preparedness can transform the natural hazard into a much more destructive crisis. The important lesson is that we may not be able to stop every flood, but we can reduce the damage flood causes. Flooding should therefore not be seen only as an unavoidable act of nature. It should also be seen as a challenge of planning, environmental protection, infrastructure, public awareness, and collective responsibility. If Liberia invests in better infrastructure, protects its environment, improves waste management, and prepare communities for disaster, many of the devastating efforts or effects of flooding can be reduced. Oh yes. Ultimately, the question is not simply whether flooding is natural or human-made. Therefore, the important question is, what can we as a society do to prevent a natural hazard from becoming a human-made disaster? 0778-665-073, 0887-105-105 are the numbers to call this evening and form part of the program, the Environmental Hour, right here on Love FM 105.1. My name is Rufus. Let's get this break, and while we anticipate your calls.
Our future, our responsibility. Liberia, stand up!
Pollution is not just an environmental issue. It is a health issue, a community issue, a national issue. The future of Liberia depends on what we do today. Clean Liberia, Green Liberia. Join the movement with Voices for a Green Liberia, VGL Media, in collaboration with Love FM, educating, advocating, acting for a green Liberia.
Our land, our future, our responsibility. Liberia, stand up!
Can you feel it? Can you smell it? The air we breathe in Liberia is under threat. Smoke from generators, burning trash, and dirty emissions pollute our air daily. Dirty air causes cough, asthma, and serious sickness. Don't burn waste carelessly. Maintain your generators. Plant more trees. Clean air means healthy lives. This message is brought to you by Voices for a Green Liberia, VGL Media, in collaboration with Love FM 105.1.
So let's go to the live feed and see some of our contributors. Emmanuel Cannon writes, he said, Mr. Cannon, what's up, bro? Thanks for the hard work. Thank you so much. I appreciate your participation, Emmanuel. Thank you so much for being with us on the program. 0887-105-105, 0778-665-073 are numbers to call and form part of the program. The environmental hour with just limited time we have in our favor. You can put your calls through. Let's talk about some of those environmental challenges regarding our topic under discussion. We know you are in the Bourgeois Island area there, and specifically those community and other areas that are challenged now with the flooding situation. You can ask those questions, necessary questions. We can provide you answers. And some of the disasters that have been created by the flood, we can reach out to the disaster management. It will help to reach out to the disaster management team to respond adequately to give or restore your livelihood, you know. So that's why we don't talk politics. We talk nature, Mother Nature. You are faced with serious disaster, flooding. Some of you have been made homeless. You don't talk about these things, but we engage ourselves into political ventures and forgetting about our own livelihood. It is threatening you. So some of you, you have not even come to realize that your practices is threatening your survival. Because you cannot be putting trash in a community not just far from your home. At the end of the day, the rats, the roaches, all these things live from that same diet and come in your homes. Mosquitoes, like we brought you the records. The records from the folks there. Liberia Meteorological Service. This August, as the report states, there will be more mosquitoes. Because this is the season where the mosquitoes have breeding grounds to produce more. So you need to prepare yourself. So if your environment is dirty and you think that, oh yeah, you dress up fine, at the end of the day, you will still come home to sleep. That's why you continue to buy spray gun, you continue to buy mosquito coil, because the environment is not clean. 0778-665-073, 0887-105-105 are numbers to call and participate on the program. We are talking about flooding. What have you to say concerning that? Shortly, we'll be winding down the curtains on today's edition of the program. So you'll be there because I'm in here, and together we say a teamwork supportive on this radio. Let's get our final break. When we come back, we'll wrap up things here in today's edition of the program, The Environmental Hour.
Our land, our future, our responsibility. Liberia, stand up!
Look around your community. Garbage on the streets, plastic everywhere. Land pollution destroys our environment, and blocked drainages causes flooding, during rainy season. Use trash bins. Recycle. Join community cleanups. A clean community is everyone's responsibility. A message from Voices for a Green Liberia, VGL Media, in collaboration with Love FM 105.1.
If we don't act now, who will care?
So let's use the time to say many thanks to all of you who play your listening role. We appreciate your participation by listening, and those who intend calling but time have called with us. We appreciate you joining us on Wednesday, or better say on Friday, when we will be around here to discuss another important topic. In today's edition, we looked at the topic flooding in Liberia, natural disaster, or man-made crisis, and we brought you some facts concerning that. So, on this note, this is our wind down the curtains on today's edition. Like I always say to you, there are two things in this life you always be remembered for: the problems you create and the problems you solve. And you must take responsibility of two things in your life: your fortune and that of your misfortune. Mahatma Gandhi said, and I quote, "The difference between what we do and what we are capable of doing will suffice to solve most of the world's problems." Unquote. My name is Rufus Divan Cannon, founder and executive director of Voices for a Green Liberia, and we are privileged to be in collaboration with Love FM 105.1 to have you and yours a pleasant and a godly day. Bye bye on the program.
Voices for the Green Liberia.